Jack had always been a farmer. His father was a farmer, and his grandfather before that. The land had been in his family for generations, and it was more than just a way to make a living. It was his home and his life. For months, not a single drop of rain fell on Jack's fields. The soil cracked under the hot sun, and the crops withered away. Corn, wheat, and vegetables that were supposed to feed his family and bring in money turned to dust. No matter how hard Jack worked, he couldn't fight nature. He tried everything, watering the plants by hand, digging deeper water wells. But nothing worked. The drought was too severe. Jack watched helplessly as his savings slowly disappeared. His wife Maggie tried to stay positive, but he could see the worry in her eyes. Their 3 children didn't understand what was happening. "Why can't we have cake, Daddy?" asked Emma, his youngest child. Jack's heart broke as he told her they couldn't afford it. When the last of the crops died, Jack knew he had to make a decision. The farm couldn't provide for them anymore. If they stayed, his family would go hungry. "I have to find work in the city," he told Maggie one evening. She nodded with tears in her eyes. "The kids and I will be okay here," she said, though her voice trembled. "You do what you have to do." The next morning, Jack packed a small bag. He kissed Maggie and the kids goodbye, promising he would send money as soon as he could. Then he boarded an old bus that shook as it drove away from the only home he'd ever known. He felt a lump in his throat as the farm disappeared from the bus window, but he didn't let himself cry. He had to be strong for his family. When Jack arrived in the city, he was overwhelmed. The tall buildings, the noise, and the crowds were nothing like the quiet fields he was used to. He felt small and out of place, but he couldn't let that stop him. He had a family to take care of. He spent his first day walking from place to place, asking for work. "Do you need any help?" he asked at construction sites, restaurants, and shops. Most people shook their heads. "Sorry, we're not hiring," they said. By evening, Jack was tired and hungry. He used the little money he had to buy a loaf of bread and some water. He ate alone on a park bench, wondering if he had made a mistake by leaving the farm. The next day, Jack tried again. This time, he found a job at a factory. The pay was low, and the work was hard. He spent long hours lifting heavy boxes and loading trucks. His back hurt by the end of each shift. But he didn't complain. He was thankful to have a job, even if it wasn't what he was used to. Every week, Jack sent most of his paycheck home to Maggie. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy food and keep the kids clothed. Maggie wrote him letters, telling him about life on the farm. "The house feels so empty without you," she wrote. "But we're managing, thanks to you." Jack's days in the city were lonely. He missed the open fields, the fresh air, and the sound of his children's laughter. On weekends, he went to the public library and read books about farming. He wanted to learn new techniques, hoping that someday he could return to the farm and make it thrive again. One evening, after a long shift, Jack met Billy, who also worked at the factory. He noticed Jack's tired face. "You're not from the city, aren't you?" Billy asked. Jack shook his head and told him about his farm and the devastating drought. Billy nodded thoughtfully. "I used to work on a farm too," he said. "It's hard to leave, but you're doing the right thing for your family." Billy invited Jack to his home for dinner, where Jack met Billy's wife and children. For the first time in weeks, Jack felt a little less alone. Over the months, Billy and Jack became good friends. Billy taught Jack how to save money and gave him advice about city life. Jack even picked up an extra shift on weekends to earn a little more money. Bit by bit, his savings grew. "You'll get through this," Billy said. "One day things will get better." Jack held on to that hope. Every night after work, he would sit on the small porch on the shared factory housing and think about the farm. He pictured the fields turning green again, the corn growing tall, and the joy on his children's faces when they ran through the rows of crops. He dreamed of mornings filled with the sounds of birds singing and the smell of fresh earth after a rain. He worked hard, saved every penny he could, and stayed focused on his goal. During his rare breaks, he read books about watering systems and soil restoration, taking careful notes and sketching out plans. He imagined planting new crops that could take the drought, using the knowledge he had gained from his books, and building a better life for his family. These dreams kept him going even on the hardest days at the factory. Finally, after 2 years in the city, Jack had saved enough money to return home. He said goodbye to Billy and thanked him for his kindness. "Come visit us someday," Jack said. Billy smiled and promised he would. When Jack stepped off the bus near his farm, his heart swelled with emotion. The house looked a little bit older, and the fields were overgrown. But it was still home. Maggie and the kids ran out to greet him, their faces glowing with happiness. "You're back!" Emma cried, throwing her arms around him. Jack hugged his family tightly, feeling a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. "I'm back," he said, his voice thick with emotion. The next few months were full of hard work. Jack used his savings to buy seeds and tools. He taught Maggie and the kids some of the new farming methods he had learned. Together, they planted crops, fixed up the house, and brought the farm back to life. When the first harvest came, it wasn't as big as Jack had hoped, but it was a start. The family celebrated with a big dinner, laughing and sharing stories around the table. For the first time in a long time, Jack felt hopeful about the future. Looking out at his fields, Jack knew there would still be hard times ahead. But he also knew he had the strength to face them. He had left everything behind to take care of his family, and now they were stronger than ever. Together, they would build a new life on the land they loved so much.
Question 1. What was Jack's job before moving to the city? A. Factory worker. B. Farmer. C. Store manager. Two. What caused Jack's crops to fail? A. A severe drought. B. Insect infestation. C. Flooding. Three. How did Jack feel when he had to tell his daughter they couldn't afford cake? A. Angry. B. Embarrassed. C. Heartbroken. Four. Why did Jack decide to leave the farm? A. To find work in the city. B. To go back to school. C. To visit relatives. Five. What did Jack do on his first day in the city? A. Visited tourist sites. B. Applied for jobs. C. Rested in a hotel. Six. What did Jack do with most of his earnings? A. Saved for a vacation. B. Sent money to his family. C. Bought expensive clothes. Seven. How did Jack learn new farming methods? A. He visited the city gardens. B. He called other farmers. C. He read farming books at the library. Eight. Who became Jack's friend in the city? A. Billy. B. Mark. C. Sam. Nine. What was Jack's dream while working in the city? A. To open a store. B. To bring his family to the city. C. To return and restore his farm. Ten. What happened after Jack returned to the farm? A. The farm was beyond repair. B. He and his family rebuilt it together. C. The family decided to sell it.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.